अच्छा लग रहा है ये,
है ना? हाँ भैया, इनके लिए तो 6-7 इंच वाली हील दिखा दो।
ठीक है।
हाँ बेटा बोल।
माँ,
हाँ
मैंने टीचिंग एग्जाम क्लियर कर लिया।
सच? भैया
हाँ जी।
फ्लैट सी दिखाइए।
क्यों, क्या हुआ? कद बढ़ाने के लिए अब लटकना शुरू करोगी दिन रात 24/7?
बेटी ने अड्डा 24/7 ज्वाइन किया और टीचिंग एग्जाम क्लियर किया। और बच्चे जब तरक्की करते हैं ना, तो माँ बाप का कद अपने आप बढ़ जाता है।
अड्डा 24/7 की एक्सपर्ट एंड एक्सपीरियंस्ड फैकल्टी और क्वालिटी एजुकेशन से आप तैयार होते हैं बैंकिंग, टीचिंग, एसएससी जैसे अनेक कम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम्स को क्लियर करने के लिए और एक अच्छा करियर बनाने के लिए।
अड्डा 24/7 जॉब है तो रॉब है।
Hello everyone, welcome to Officers Adda247. So hearty welcome to all the bankers in this early morning session. So before to moving further, I would like to say if you're new on the Officers Adda247, hit the subscribe button and download the Adda247 application so that you can get everything at a one place. Okay. So as a few days left for your examination, so hope for the best and I hope everyone just finishing up your preparation with practicing the mock test now. Okay. So we are just going to discuss the most important questions as usually we do that. And before to proceed, I would like to say you can just enroll for the case study batch as well as the selection batch as well as the revision batch that is going on, and that all you will find in your Adda247 store, and there you can just enroll for that whichever the batch you are going to enroll for that. Okay, you have to use the code that is Y422 and with this code you are going to get the big discount over that, right? So quickly I'm just starting the session now. Okay, so the very first question that we are going to start the session that may be asked in the 2 marks in the examination. Just try to understand the concept that we are using in every question, because concept stays there but the question changes. Okay, and the same type of the questions you will get like based on the same concept, right? So now we are going to understand the very first question here. Just try to read that. After that I am just going to explain this how to solve this kind of the questions in the examination. Okay, so a new firm that commenced business on the 1st of April 2019 and purchased goods costing 90,000 rupees during the year. Okay, after that a sum of the 6,000 was spent on the freight inward. At the end of the year on the 31st of March 2020, the goods remained of the 12,000 value after sales. So sales during the year was 1,20,000. What is the gross profit earned by the firm? Now just understand what the question is. Question is about the gross profit, and we all know that the formula of the gross profit, what that is, a sales minus cost of goods sold. Now understand, the sales is given, right? The sales is given, that is a 1,20,000. The sales is given, that means we only have to find out the cost of goods sold here, right? So now understand that we have to find out the cost of goods sold. How to find out that? When we talk about what is the formula of the cost of goods sold, then you know that this is the opening stock plus purchases plus direct expenses minus closing stock. Okay, that is the formula of the cost of goods sold. Now just tell me here, is there any opening stock given in the question? No, there is no any opening stock is given in the question. Okay, purchases are given. Yes, purchases are given, that is a 90,000 rupees given here, so we have to just write here that is the purchases. After that a sum of the 6,000 was spent on the freight inward. Freight you can understand as a transportation charges. Okay, and freight inward we often just say that is this is a direct expenses. Okay, because this is related to the factory level expenses. Okay, so when we talk about the freight outward, that considered as a indirect expenses, because this considered as an office level expenses. Okay, now so direct expenses, that is given the 6,000, and after that at the end of the year the goods remained of the 12,000 value after sales. That means as on the specific date you can understand the closing stock, that is given the 12,000 here, right? Now what is the value of this? Then when we talk about what is the value of the cost of goods sold, you will find here 90,000 plus 6,000 minus 12,000, that will become your 84,000, right? Okay, So that will become the 84,000. Now just move on to the gross profit formula, and the sales is given, that is a 1,20,000 minus 84,000 here. What is the answer of this? That would be the 36,000. And look, this question is so complicated in the so many terms here given, and you can understand if you are good with your concept, then you quickly solve the questions in the examination also. Okay, now the next question. A bond carries a specific rate of the interest, and that is called as, when we talk about the bond, always understand bond actually issues by the government or the corporations. When we talk about the bond is actually issued by the government and the corporations for raising the fund, okay. So this is a bond for raising the fund. Government and corporation issue the bond, suppose that for the road infrastructure, for the school construction, for any kind of the things that if the government and or corporation, if corporation want to expand its business, so for that cases you can understand that actually issued the bond. And with the bond, when we talk about the general public, for the general public, this investing in the bond or purchasing the bond is like the investing, okay. That's why these persons are known as an investor, okay, because they are taking the money from the investor, so they are known as a borrower in this case, okay. So borrower or say issuer of the bond, right? So a bond carries a specific rate of the interest, and that is called as, just understand a very important thing here, right? Just understand this. Whenever we talking about the coupon rate, that always going to be implemented on the face value of the bond, you can also understand on the bond value, okay. So that is directly related to the bond value. So the correct answer, that would be the coupon rate. That should be your bond carries a specific rate of interest, that is called as a coupon rate, okay. This you can consider as a that interest is going to be paid by the government and the corporations. Suppose that bond value is 1,000 rupees and the coupon rate, that is a 10% is given. So the interest payment that is going to receive by the investor at a regular interval of the time, then you will say that would be the 100 rupees, okay. So this is how you have to understand. Suppose that bond period, that is a 5 years, bond investing in the bond for the 5 years. So this interest you can understand 100 rupees for the first year, 100 rupees for the second, third and fourth and the fifth likewise, okay. This is you have to understand. Now third question. From the following information, calculate proprietary ratio. What we understand by the proprietary ratio? Anybody can understand what we understand by the proprietary ratio? It is nothing but the shareholders fund that is divided by the total asset. That you can understand when we talk about the proprietary ratio. This is a shareholders fund. What it is given, that is a 15 lakh given. So just write here, that is a 15 lakh, and it is divided by the total asset of the firm. So debtor, cash, fixed asset, all are the total asset of the company that is given in the question. So 10, 5, 15, 15, 5, 20 lakh, we only have to just write here 20 lakh, and this will become 3 by 4, or you can also say that is a 0.75:1, or you can also say that is a 0.75 times, okay. Understand. When we talk about this is a 0.75 times, or we can also say that the 75% of the total asset of the company that is financed by the shareholders fund. Okay, this is a very important thing that I am just telling you here, that when we talk about the proprietary ratio, just understand the proprietary ratio formula is actually the shareholders fund, and it is divided by the total asset, okay. So when we are getting the value 0.75, or you can say the value that is a 75%, that means 75% of the total asset of the company that is financed by the shareholders fund, okay. So this is how we have to understand that how to solve the questions in the examination also, right? I think this is clear to everyone, because you clearly maybe get in the examination this kind of the question. So just understand the process behind that. Next question. Sales of the 20,000 to Mr. X is posted to his credit, then rectification is what? Okay. So when we talk about that, whenever we talking about the sales, and you can understand in the trial balance what I told you about that, in the debit side, what we posted in the debit side, we posted the expenses and the losses, okay, and on the credit side what we recorded, on the credit side what we recorded, on the credit side we recorded the liabilities, we recorded the income, we recorded the gains. Okay, now understand, when we talk about the thing that sale of the 20,000 rupees to Mr. X is posted to his credit, then rectification entry is what would be, then you can understand the sale is always you can understand as an income for the company. Okay, now understand. Sale is always understandable as an income for the company for Mr. X if we are talking about. So you can understand for the Mr. X, the sale is going to be recorded under the credit side, right? So whenever you are getting the question, the examination of the rectification entry, you always have to understand that the first you have to make the correct diagram. Like the first you have to make the correct diagram. Like suppose that we are talking about the sale of the 20,000 to the Mr. X is posted to his credit, then rectification is what should be. So the sale should be represented under the credit side. Okay, that means the sales we have to represent on the credit side. But by mistake what we had done, sales of the 20,000 rupees to Mr. X is posted to his credit. What it represented that here, that on the debit side the Mr. X should be debited while the sales account is going to be credited, right? Now when we talk about then rectification, it is what, that means what by mistake what exactly happened. Then you will say by mistake what exactly happened, we actually just represent the Mr. X is on the credit side. If we are representing Mr. X is on the credit side, that means we actually represent the purchase account on the debit side. Just understand this, because here the Mr. X is actually receiving the goods. Okay, that's why we are just selling, we are just using the term that is the sale, and here we are using the Mr. X is on the credit side, that means we are using the purchases on the debit. That's why Mr. X is on the credit side. Okay, so rectification entry is also just only ask for the Mr. X, like for what amount the Mr. X is going to be credited, so that you have to understand. So suppose that now just understand that if I'm just only talking about the Mr. X here. Okay, so just understand the by mistake what exactly happened. By mistake we actually debited the Mr. X account. Okay, sorry, by like what the correct entry should be for this Mr. X, that 20,000 should be on the debited side. Okay, by mistake what we had done, by mistake we actually credited the Mr. X account with the 20,000 rupees. So the first thing that you have to nullify this wrong entry by debiting the 20,000 rupees here. Okay, after nullifying this entry, you want that you want this 20,000 on the debit side. That means total amount, that is a 40,000. So what should be the correct answer here? That debit Mr. X to the extent of the 40,000 rupees. That should be the correct answer for this question. Okay, I'm hoping that this is understandable to everyone here, right? Next question. Which one of the following equation is correct? Okay, so when we talk about which one of the following equation is correct, so you know that the balance sheet equation or the accounting equation is all about the asset is equal to liability plus the equity. Okay, so when we talk about it is asset is equal to liability plus equity, so what is the correct option here? So you will say that is the asset is equal to owner's equity plus liability. That should be the correct answer here. Okay, so this is how we have to solve the questions in the examination also, right? Okay, next question. If a share of 10 rupees on which 8 rupees has been paid up is forfeited, it can be reissued at the minimum price. You know, when we talk about if any company issued the shares, okay, and company want the face value of the share in the installment. Suppose that company's one share price, that is a 10 rupees, and company want this price in the installment. Suppose that company is want some rupees in the application stage, some rupees in the allotment stage, some rupees in the first call, and some rupees in the second call, right? Now understand, if at any installment that is not paid by the shareholders, so company can forfeit the shareholders account. Okay, Now in the case, you can understand if a share of the 10 rupees on which 8 rupees has been paid up. Suppose that in the application states company want 2 rupees, in the allotment company want 4 rupees, in the first call company want the 2 rupees, and in the another, that is second and final call, company want 2 rupees. If any shareholder is paid application amount, is paid allotment amount, is paid the first call amount but not paid the second call, so you can understand in this scenario company have to forfeit the shareholders account of this rupees. Okay, so you can understand of 10 rupees, like company already get the 8 rupees that is paid up. Okay, and after that is going to forfeit it, so it can be reissued at the minimum price of how much rupees. So then the correct answer, that is for the 2 rupees per share, because as per the latest company's account 2013, it has been clarified that the company can reissue the share at the minimum price of the 2 rupees. That should be the correct answer for this question. Okay, next question. Premium received on issue of the shares is shown on which side? You know, when we talk about the premium that is received on the issuance of the share, that is shown on which side? The correct answer, that is the liability side of the balance sheet. Okay, whenever we talking about, suppose that company issued the share of the 10 rupees face value and with the premium of the 3 rupees, always understand the very important thing I'm just going to tell you here, that this 10 rupees that is related to the share capital account. This 10 rupees is related to the share capital account, while this 3 rupees related to your securities premium account. Securities premium account. So you have to understand that this 3 rupees of the premium, that goes where? That goes into the securities premium account, while this 10 rupees, that is a face value of the share, that is goes into the share capital account. Both are the different account. Okay, so you have to understand this, and the premium that is received on the issuance of the share, that is going to be recorded on the liability side of the balance sheet. Okay, next question. Determine stock turnover ratio. Now understand the very first thing. What the question is stock turnover ratio. We know that the formula of that is the cost of goods sold, and it is divided by the average inventory. Okay, because stock is also known as the inventory, right? So now the opening stock is given, closing stock is given. Just find out the average inventory here. So you will say 31,000 plus 29,000, that is a 60,000. So average inventory, that should be your 30,000. Okay, so we calculated here. Now we have to find out the cost of goods sold. So sales are given, and the gross profit is 25% of the sales are given. Okay, so when we talk about the gross profit, what is the formula of the gross profit? You will say the formula of the gross profit, that is your sales minus cost of goods sold. Okay, so we will just write here, that is the sales minus cost of goods sold here. After that, if I just ask you the one thing here, that is gross profit, that is divided by the sales minus cost of goods sold. So sales, that is given the 3,20,000. So we will write here 3,20,000 minus cost of goods sold. Now understand that gross profit that is given, we have to find out the cost of goods sold, while the gross profit is already given. Now understand, the gross profit is a 25% on the sales. That means if the sales is 3,20,000, that means what the value of the gross profit? You will say the value of the gross profit, that is a 80,000 rupees, right? That is 80,000 rupees. Now what will be the value of the cost of goods sold? You will say the value of the cost of goods sold, that is 2,40,000 rupees. That should be the value of the cost of goods sold. Now understand, if I have to find out the stock turnover ratio, you can understand we have to put the value of the cost of goods sold here. That should be your 2,40,000, and it is divided by the your average inventory, that the value is given here 30,000, right? So that you have to just write, that is 30,000. So your answer, that would be 8:1, or you can also say that the value is 8 times. That should be the correct answer for this question, right? Next question. The maximum amount beyond which a company is not allowed to raise a fund by issue of the shares is known as, you can understand the capital is known as the authorized capital, that the authorized capital, or you can also say the capital that is known as a nominal capital. Okay, So either say authorized or say nominal, that is known as by the maximum amount beyond which a company is not allowed to raise funds by issue of the shares, that is known as the authorized capital or the nominal capital. So that should be the correct answer for this question. Next question. On the forfeiture of the shares, share capital will be debited by which amount? You know, when we talk about, when we are just solving the questions of the forfeiture, then you can understand how to make entry of that. If you just watch my sessions of the, like, whatever I have taken in the batches, so you can understand what I told you, that the very first thing that you have to write the share capital account, that means what the amount the company want from the customer, okay, that we have to write. That means what the share capital account is, what, suppose that we are talking about, like what I told you in the previous questions, that suppose that company issued the shares with the 10 rupees with the premium of the 3 rupees, so this 10 rupees goes to which account, that is share capital account. So you can understand whatever the called value by the company to the shareholder, that we have to return under the share capital account, okay. So the correct answer, that is a called up value, that is going to be debited from the share capital account, right? So this is, you have to understand, and that's how we have to solve the questions as well, right? So thank you everyone for watching me here, and I'm hoping that you all just understood this session, and I hope you all just note down all the important points that I discussed here. And the very important thing I want to tell you here, that you are going to get the flat 22% off on all the Adda books with the code of the Y422. Remember the code Y422 with this code, because the grand book fair is going on, okay. So you are going to get the flat 22% off on all the Adda books, and you can enroll for the bilingual as well as the English medium language like courses of the JAIIB. And the only code that you have to use in this, that is a Y422. With this code you are going to get the discount over that. As well as when we talk about the test pack, that's a very essential for your completing your preparation. So you can you can just grab the discount of the 17% with the code of the Y422S, and with this code you are going to get the discount over that, okay. So thank you everyone for watching me here, and I hope everyone just enjoyed this session, and everyone just note down the important points here. And if you liking our effort, liking our content, do not forget to hit the like button on this video and share this video to your friends and colleagues, so that maximum number of our bankers can join with us in these kind of the sessions, okay. So once again, thank you everyone for joining me here.